Hello everybody, this is Kostas Tsakas and this is our fifth tutorial in Photoshop. Now in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to open, save and create a file in Photoshop, as well as how to change the size of the image and the canvas of an image. So all of these first three options, opening, creating and saving an image, are in this file menu just as they are in probably any other program. So file new to create a new image. Now let's just name our image tutorial 5 just because that's the tutorial. Okay, and here you see you have to set the width and height of your image. So let's just set that to 800 by 600 just for fun. So 600, and you can see that that is pixels right now. And if I just go ahead, I can change the measurement to, for example, centimeters, and they're both changed to centimeters right away. So let's just put that back to pixels, because we want to count them in pixels. Now the resolution that's down here, what that means is basically how many pixels are you gonna get per inch. And basically a higher resolution means a better quality. So I don't know if you've heard about the Retina display in the iPhone. It's pretty much the same thing. It has a 320 pixels per inch. I think that's about how much it has. So it doesn't matter if you actually set your resolution to 1,000 pixels per inch, because if your screen does not support that kind of resolution, you're just not going to get anything better. You're just going to get a bigger file size. But if you had a printer that could print at 1,000 dpi, and that's dots per inch or pixels per inch, the same thing, you could just set the resolution to 1,000 pixels per inch and you just get the best out of your printer. Now color mode is not, I'm not going to talk about that just because we don't know what the color modes are. And the background contents is basically what you want the background of your image to be, and white is usually what you use, but background color is basically that one, the color at the back over here. And you can use that color as well, or you can set it to transparent, and what that means is that you can see through the background. And whenever you put the image on a website, for example, you're going to be able to see through it to what is behind it. For example, if there is some text or anything else, you can see through the image. And if I set it transparent, you see I get those white and gray squares. They had to depict transparency some way. They couldn't depict it with any other way, so they put those gray and white squares. So if I just close that now, I'll show you a nice little trick to know. If I just go ahead and just copy this image from the web and go back to Photoshop, and let's just say File New. Now we didn't talk about those preset options, and here's a nice option. They're just some preset options to set your width and height. And you can see international paper, US paper photo, how much the size should be. And the most interesting option to me is the clipboard, and that's selected by default whenever you copy an image. And what that basically does is it says, okay, you have an image in your clipboard and it has some size, and basically I want the image that I'm going to create to have the same size as the image that is copied in your clipboard. So let's just click OK and just go ahead and edit and paste the image, and that's gonna actually paste the image on the canvas, and you can see that it fits just fine on the canvas. And that is because Photoshop is smart enough to select the correct dimensions for my image to fit. Now the next thing we're gonna see is how to open an image. Let's just close that, clicking on X. No, I don't want to save it. And File, and let's just open. And that's pretty simple, just as you do it everywhere. You can select a format just to narrow down your search, but I don't use that much. But you can just select, for example, to see all the PNG images. I'm not going to do that right now. And you can just open up an image just by clicking on it. Yeah, that's that simple. And File Open As, what it does is, remember when you said about file formats? Well, you can open an image with a different file format than it actually is. And usually you save your image with a different file format, but in Photoshop you can open it with a file format that is different than the one your image has. So it saves you from the trouble. And then if I want to, I can make a little bit of an edit to it, and I can just go ahead and file and save the image. Oh, let's just create a new image to save. That's much more fun. We create this new image, and let's just go File, oh, it has nothing on it, that's why. Let's just paint something on it. And File, Save. And basically you can see that you can choose the file format you want, and PSD is the file format we talked about. It saves a little bit about of your editing info. So I'm just gonna go ahead and save it. Let's just save it with my last name, just for fun. And well, if I go ahead and save it, I get this dialog, okay, maximize compatibility. And we just save that image, and save as basically can save a copy of the image that you're viewing right now instead of saving it at the location that it was saved. Yeah, if that sounded kind of weird. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to change the size of an image. And let's just open up an image, yeah, because we have no image. And image size. Now if you go over here, you can set the dimensions of your image, and there are some options, we'll talk about them. So if you set the width to 1024, you can see that oops, constraint proportions should actually be selected. I don't know why that's not selected actually. So if I set the width to 1024, you can see that the height automatically converts to 683, so as to keep the proportion between the height and the width of your image. And that's really smart because you don't get a weird transformation. Now if I just don't set the constraint proportions, I can just set the height to 100 and my image will be kind of squeezed, like I don't know, kind of squeezed, yeah, so it'll look kind of weird. Now if I just set that back to 1024, now scale styles, what it basically does is when we learn about styles, it'll just resize every style that you have put on the image as well. And the resample image is just the algorithm that Photoshop is going to use in order to resize your image, and you can look them up on the internet. You're going to find a lot of information on them. The default is just fine. Usually you're going to have no problem. Now you can also change the size of the image through document size, and that you can see has a different measure. It's not measured in pixels, you can measure it in percent, inches, centimeters, millimeters, points, picots, and everything else. So you could set the size over here, and you can say the pixels change up here as well. So let's just set this to 1024. I'm stuck with that just because it's a common resolution. So let's just hit OK, and you can see the image shrink down. That's what we expected. It just got smaller. And if I just go ahead and zoom in again from this place where we learned to zoom in, didn't we? So we want a little bit more zooming in, so 50%. And what you can also do is actually change the size of the canvas. And the canvas is different from the image. That's what people often mistake. That the canvas is basically where you draw, and the image is basically the thing you've drawn. So when you resize the image, you resize the whole thing. But when you resize the canvas, you just resize what the image is inside. Let's just see an example. You'll get it better. I don't want to count that in centimeters. I want to count that in pixels. Or I could count that in centimeters. Yeah, let's just see an example of centimeters. So if I set the width to 10 and the height to, oops, we don't want that to be smaller. Let's make it larger. 18 and the height to 13, you'll just see that we create a border that's black around it. And that is because we actually made the place that the image is in larger, but the image didn't change the size of it. So if I just go again on canvas size, let's just try some different options. If I just make that 20 from here, like, or maybe smaller, we could set that to 17 and 12. Maybe you can make it smaller if you want to. That's just gonna make it. It says, do we want to proceed, because it's not going to change the size of the image, so it's going to cut it if the image is smaller. And you see we cut some of the borders basically. And if I go again on canvas size, I want to show you what anchor is, and that's basically where your image is going to stick. And if I choose it to anchor over here, and I set its width to be 20 and its height to be 14, for example, you can see that the whole thing is going to go over here at the sides, and the image is going to stick up there. And let's just select a different background color so that you get it. And that's basically the color that's going to be extended around the image. So let's just select white, for example. And if I click OK, you can see that the whole color went at the sides and the image stayed up at the top left corner. right. So that was it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and see you guys next time.